Greetings, weary travelers, and welcome back to The Keep. I am Lindsey the Keeper, and today we are taking a dive from cringy RPG horror stories to randomness of TTRPG, where we just have fun with some ideas flowing about. So, usually when I do a randomness of TTRPG, it is normally something fun and goofy, or just a, hey, here's a knowledge thing just in case you are new or interested in it. But today, it's a little bit different. A few months ago, I read an article online about a person on Reddit who wanted some advice and to see if he was overreacting to the situation or not, which happens to involve D&D. I read the posts of the original and the update, and I could see why the article ran. It does have some good decisions about feelings being validated and opening up to insecurity and wanting clarity, even in a game of Dungeons and Dragons. So, similar to me reading r/RPG horror stories, I am going to take that form and read the posts, and I will talk about my thoughts on it and the update for the story and finish up with some final notes. So, sit back, relax, cuddle up to your favorite Tingle, and get ready for discussion on this post. Enjoy! This was written by user The Updude with the title, Am I Overreacting? I think my girlfriend might be cheating on me through her Dungeons and Dragons game. Update. I, 27 male, have been going out with my girlfriend, 25 female, for almost 4 years, and we've been living together for a few months. She's funny and wonderful and kind and honestly, pretty much everything I ever wanted in a girl. She's also a bit of a D&D type nerd, which I don't think is a bad thing. It's good that she has her own friends and hobbies. She tried getting me into it, but I don't really get it. She tried teaching me about D&D, but there were just too many weird rules and dice, and I just didn't see the fun in it. We tried playing Baldur's Gate 3 together, thinking it would be easier for me to get into it and for me to experience her world in a way. But I got really bored really fast, and at that point, it was just better to let her do her own thing. We've got plenty of other stuff we do together, and as I said, it's not a big deal for her to have hobbies that don't include me. And she does love her hobbies. She gets very excited about her weekly games and sometimes tells me about the epic adventures they go on, which, admittedly, sounds pretty fun secondhand. But it is not really for me. We live in a 2-bedroom apartment, so we have a bedroom and a home office we share where our laptops are. Her D&D games are online and usually happen in the evenings, so I just hang out in the living room or go out when she plays to not intrude. But a few weeks ago, I noticed that she locks the door when she plays. I thought it was a little weird because why would you lock the door to play D&D? And it didn't sit right with me. So I did what I now think might have been very sad and pathetic. But I genuinely didn't know what else to do. The last few weeks when she had her game, I sat out in the hall by the door and listened. She uses headphones so I can only hear her side of the game, and at first, it was just some stuff about rolling dice, joking around with her friends, and spells doing whatever. But I kept at it. I sat there for 4 hours last week and over 2 hours this week, but eventually I heard it. She was talking about / with another person, and it was really romantic. It was tender and very emotional. She legit said something like, "You know, I love you, so I want to help you save your family." Or something like that, in a clearly romantic way. It went on like that, like a clearly emotional discussion with a romantic partner that lasted a solid 15 minutes. Then it went back to other stuff. But by that point, it didn't matter. I was really upset and I went back to the living room and when she came out after session, I confronted her. I told her I heard her talking and telling some guy how much she loved him and how he was the only one who ever got through to her or something, so she would do anything for him. She said I was taking it out of context and that it was just pretend and playing a character, but I told her it didn't matter. This wasn't some video game where her character was speaking written lines to another character with written lines who wasn't real. She herself was saying sweet, loving, romantic things to another real person, and it hurt to hear. It felt like cheating. She said it wasn't cheating, and her character wasn't her. She just did it for the drama and thought being romantically invested made her character better. She also said that me sitting outside to listen on her game was a violation of her privacy and showed that I didn't trust her, which was why she felt like she needed to lock the door in the first place. I apologized for that, but at the same time, I said that me being wrong to eavesdrop doesn't justify what she did, to which she said that she didn't do anything wrong. It was just what the game was, and it was just a game, but that made me feel worse. Maybe I'm being whiny or misreading it, but she is the first person I was ever really vulnerable with like that. And the way she spoke to me when she told me how much she loved me, it was just so similar to the way she spoke as her character that it made me uncomfortable. It made me feel like something that was only mine and only for me was just given to someone else for a game. It felt like it cheapened it. Was she faking it with me? Was she genuinely feeling it for the other person? I don't know what exactly it is that's bothering me because technically she's not wrong. But I don't care if she's technically not cheating. I just feel like there are certain sides of my girlfriend that should be reserved only for me, shouldn't there? I couldn't really verbalize it to her, and after a bunch of arguing back and forth, we just went to bed. For the past few days, we've been in this weird state of limbo where we're going on like nothing happened, but also there's clearly tension. Today, I couldn't take it anymore, and I said that we need to talk about it. I said that I understand her hobbies are important to her, but I am her boyfriend and there should be certain things that are just for me. I can't go on knowing that she's talking like that to some other guy. So I told her that I support her going on with the games, but I asked that she no longer lock the door and no longer doing whatever romantic stuff she does in-game. She said I didn't mind when she talked to me at length about her romance with that Australian guy in Baldur's Gate. I told her, again, that is not the same. I don't mind her playing romance with a bunch of pixels and being moved by fiction. But that her D&D game isn't just fiction, it's her telling those things to an actual person, and that bothers me. So I want her to stop. She said I was being possessive and controlling, and that I can't tell her not to have hobbies and how to behave. I told her that's true, but if she doesn't understand how I feel about this, we might not have a future together. She got angrier and said I'm clearly not in a state to be having this discussion and we'll talk again when I've calmed down and went to school. She's getting her master's art. But in the time since I've been the opposite of calming down, I just get more upset the more I think about it. Clearly, me being upset should at least make her consider stopping, even if she isn't actually cheating outright. Shouldn't my feelings matter on this issue? But also, maybe I'm not being reasonable. Maybe I am overreacting. Help! So, I will be honest, I can see both sides to this, and let me explain this before you start typing in the comments. Let's start with OP's side first since he was the one that posted this situation. Insecurity is a bitch. We all deal with it in different ways, especially in relationships if you have insecurities about yourself. I know I was, and part of that was the low self-esteem and insecurities that I grew up with, and it sucks. OP's feelings are valid, and he does have the right to be concerned when it's necessary. but he is overreacting to it. Listening in on a D&D game like that without hearing the full context of it and immediately jumping it into "she's cheating on me" is an extreme way of looking at it. Even though he may not get that D&D is a game, that's all it is. D&D is a game. It's a different format of gaming, but it's a game. Now, romance in D&D has always been a side plot. It is never the center point or the forefront of the D&D game that would make or break the story and how the heroes defeat the BBEG. It's just making the character have more depth and, in a way, making it more in shape to them other than the other stuff you do in D&D. But romantic side plots are optional. Not every player wants to make their character have some hope to encounter a romantic partner in-game. A lot of times, it is making a character that is fitting into the campaign, what their goals are, how do they go from being just a person into an adventure, and what journey will they go on. Keep in mind that I am a hopeless romantic and wouldn't mind having like an NPC partner in-game, but that would not be my ultimate goal for that character. Which now leads me to the girlfriend side. She understands that this is just a hobby/game. She has tried to bring OP to that so he can experience what she experiences. It is perfectly okay if they're not into it. Not everyone gets D&D, and that's fine. But what she's doing is more improv or acting. Maybe when she says those romantic lines to the other PC, she uses her real feelings for OP to bring it to the character because that's how she's doing it. Maybe she could have explained it more clearly, but it's a bit harder to explain that side without context or a way to involve him in the game, either by listening in or being part of it. Maybe listening in would be easier for him so he does understand what the game is about. But as the title stated, there is an update to it, so let's dive into it. Update. So, having read the comments y'all gave me, I thought maybe I was actually overreacting, and I really did f*** up. Especially a helpful comment someone made about asking her about maybe keeping the door unlocked and being allowed to listen in on sessions to get context and learn to accept her hobby and let her still enjoy it without me spiraling. So, when she came home from school, I made an apology dinner, homemade pizza from scratch, her fave, and we sat down to talk. She started by demanding an apology because whatever else I had to say, eavesdropping and not trusting her were huge f***ups on my part. I agreed and apologized immediately because that was behavior on my part, no questions asked. That helped her be more open to hearing me out. So I said, more calmly and tactfully, that it bothers me that she is simulating romantic love with a person I don't know in context I don't understand. I said that I can and do apologize for my actions, but I can't change how I feel, and that also needs to be discussed. So she asked what I had in mind. I told her that I think trust should go both ways. So me trusting that the game is just a game and it doesn't mean anything is well and good, but in return, I like for her to keep the door unlocked and let me sit in on a few sessions. I promise not to be disruptive, not to overreact or interrupt the game, and to bring up issues I had privately with her after the game was over. She seemed relieved because she was worried I'd demand she drop the game or break up with her, and said she personally didn't mind, but she needed to bring it up with the group, which I thought was very reasonable. The rest of the evening though, she was constantly on her phone, constantly getting Discord notifications, and seemed more and more upset. This lasted for literal hours, well into the night, past when I was asleep. I asked if anything was wrong, and she said maybe, but not to wait up, and she promised to tell me everything in the morning. I didn't get much sleep, but I also didn't want to pry too much, having just promised not to. So the next morning, when I asked what happened, since she clearly didn't get much sleep and was clearly nervous, she said she brought it up with the group and reactions were mixed. I'm gonna give these people fake names to keep track. So when she brought it up, everyone seemed okay with me listening in except Joe. Joe is the guy whose character she had the romance with. Joe said in their group chat that he wouldn't feel safe acting, they called it roleplay I guess, when there was a stranger in chat, and he wouldn't participate in any game I was present for. This obviously made my girlfriend respond that seeing the relationship between their characters was the whole point of me listening in, to which he said I'm being unreasonable and violating his boundaries by making unreasonable demands. This was already pretty bad in my eyes, but she told me about the private messages. After the group exchange, she got 3 messages. One was from Joe. Joe wrote a long, really long message about how much he cared about her and how much it hurt him to see her dim her light to appease a controlling, abusive boyfriend who stifled her creativity, and how she should be with someone who appreciated her, let her be herself, and shared her interests, and that he was available if she wanted to talk. He finished with a paragraph about how women like her always go for selfish assholes and don't appreciate the wonderful guys all around them. I genuinely couldn't believe I was seeing one of these in the wild. I don't usually get secondhand embarrassment, but that shit was so cringy I almost died. Like, I genuinely laughed. I couldn't really be angry. That shit was just so sad. She got a message from Jenny, another player, who said Joe seemed way too invested in the romance for her taste, and she thought those segments were taking up a lot of game time, which she thought was better used elsewhere. She never said anything because she thought my girlfriend was really into it, but now that it became an issue, she thought she should say something. She also mentioned she found Joe creepy, which I personally appreciate. I don't know any of these people in real life because it's an online group, but I certainly think Jenny might be my new best friend. Finally, there was a message from Mitch, the guy running the game, who said Joe reached out to him demanding I not be allowed to, and this is a quote, violate the intimacy of the group. And he should talk to my girlfriend to get her to drop me listening in and possibly drop me altogether. I don't even know how or why Mitch would even attempt to do that. All of this resulted in them canceling the next game as they work it out. My girlfriend didn't respond to Joe yet, but at least she seemed relieved that I'm taking this well. I told her, of course I am. I'm not going to be upset over some guy being into her. She's wonderful. Of course guys are going to be into her wherever she goes. The issue I was worried was that she was into him back, and these messages convinced me that's clearly not the case, which seemed to have made her feel a lot better. We talked a bit more, and now she seems to agree that locking the door in context might have seemed suspicious. Going forward, our ground rule should be that character dynamics that make her feel like she should lock the door might be the extra dynamics she should make me aware of, while I promise to trust her to tell me these things and not to eavesdrop anymore, and approach her openly about listening in on sessions. Also, the romance with Joe's character isn't going to continue, but seeing how she feels about Joe now, I think I do trust her to do character romance going forward, just not to hide it from me and be selective with who she does it with. I don't know how the Joe situation is going to be handled within the group, but I guess that's up to them, since playing with him is obviously going to be very awkward for her. I guess since she doesn't intend to keep up the romance, it doesn't really matter. Small edit since the situation basically resolved itself now. Joe didn't like being left on red. So he wrote my girlfriend a very rude message about how, I kid you not, she was going to die alone with cats because her boyfriend is going to leave her when she loses her looks. He literally never saw her in person, to be clear. Uncovering my secret plan, I guess. So she just blocked him and sent a screenshot to Mitch. Joe isn't going to be part of the group anymore. Girlfriend apologized for not recognizing how absolutely unhinged the guy was. We reasserted that any in-game interaction she isn't comfortable having in front of me is probably one she shouldn't be having. End of post. It seems like that everyone had a good ending. Well, except for Joe, but we'll get to him in a bit. OP, after reading the comments of his post, taking a step back with a clear headspace, and apologizing to his girlfriend about him overreacting, is a giant step forward. He was able to admit that, hey, I did overreact. That is on me. I am sorry. While also explaining in a calmer approach about how he feels and making suggestions so that way everyone is happier in the end. This is what healthy relationships should be like. It's about being open-minded to one another and finding a healthy balance so that way everyone is happy in the end. Even his girlfriend agreed and also wanted to bring this up with the group, which, other than Joe, the rest of the group is fine with OP listening in. Speaking of Joe, these types of players or people happen once in a prolonged while, but what Joe did was mixing his in-character feelings for the girlfriend's character into his real-life emotion for said girlfriend. There is a term for it called emotional immersion or emotional investment, which we in the community, as far as I have seen it, call it character bleed, which, if I'm using it correctly, is exactly what Joe is doing. I mean, the message he sent to the girlfriend is evidence of that, because any normal person in this situation would have reacted more like, yeah, sure, OP can listen in. Apologies in advance if I or we made or make him feel uncomfortable. I think some stories like this one are the reason why romantic side plots aren't in 99.9% of games. Especially if it's PC romance, because there is someone who will act like Joe here. Hell, even some DMs can act like Joe as well. Perhaps in a future video, I might have a rant about romance in D&D just to get my thoughts out there. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want to listen to something like that. The fun is finished and I am contained for now. I am going to depart. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. If you'd like to give me more support, you can follow me on my socials. Until then, may you find your worth in the waking world.